Hi everypony, welcome to episode 2 of My Little Mythology. Really quick, I just wanted to say, yes, I just drew this in a sketchy style for the episode, and honestly most of the episodes in the future will probably be this way too. It's a lot faster and easier for me to put out these videos, and if you're subscribed to me then you know that I'm not super great at uploading videos in a timely manner. Anyway, today's creature was requested by YouTube user Count Monsparkle, whose channel I suggest you go and check out for yourself. It's really cool. The Windigo appears in the episode Hearth Swarming Eve. Funny thing is, I never actually watched this episode. I remember just being really uninterested at the time this episode came out, so I either turned it off without finishing it or I just didn't pay any attention to it, so I don't remember what happened. Either way, I had to go back and rewatch the episode to learn about the My Little Pony version of Windigos. So in the show, they're called Windigos, which is fine. There's lots of different ways to pronounce Windigo, but I'm going to refer to it as Windigo throughout because that's the pronunciation that I know of it. The Windigos create a huge blizzard that consumes the land due to the disharmony between the three pony tribes, to the point of freezing the ponies in ice. Clover the Clever describes them as winter spirits that feed off fighting and hatred. They look like ghostly white horses, with designs almost similar to the sirens who later appear in Equestria Girls' Rainbow Rocks. Now for the origin of Windigos in the real world. There's lots of different variations on Windigos because the legend comes from many different Native American tribes, most notably Algonquian and Chippewa. Even the spelling of Windigo has dozens of variations, and as I said before, pronunciation too. In the most common Windigo story, there are creatures who used to be people but committed some sort of sin, like selfishness, gluttony, greed, or even cannibalism. In fact, the monster is usually associated with eating people, so it would make sense that a cannibal would have been thought to have turned into a Windigo. There's even a mental disorder called Windigo psychosis, which supposedly began during the harsh North American winters, with families stuck inside and feeling a growing craving for human flesh. The Windigo is described as being always hungry and never full. Some stories say the Windigo is a spirit that possesses the human, rather than the person actually turning into one. I'm going to just list a lot of things describing the look of the creature. There's many contradictions due to the different origin stories. In most depictions, it's a walking, skeletal, emaciated corpse, but it can also be seen as a giant made out of ice, or an upright, walking, undead stag. One thing that nearly all the myths have in common is its size. They're said to be huge, tall, 8 or 9 feet tall, with long, thin limbs. They usually don't have any hair, but if they do then it's white and stringy. They have no lips but sharp fangs. Its eyes are thought to be yellow and bulbous, although some stories say they have deep eye sockets that emit a yellow glow. They leave puddles of blood in their footsteps, and they are constantly covered in gore, complete with the smell of decay and death. They have hearts made out of ice, and their skin is gray. They thrive in the extreme cold of winter. So that was extremely dark and depressing. I think that's going to be a running theme for this show. So let's get back to the pony world and compare with what we just learned. So the Windigos in the show are more horse-like in design than normal ponies. So because of that, they end up being taller and thinner. So that kind of fits with the theme of Windigos being starving. They are of course associated with cold and winter, and they feed off of the hatred of the bickering ponies, even feeding them completely. Is it possible that if they had successfully frozen all 6 ponies, they would have devoured them? Or do they only feed on the negative emotions? Remember, they aren't causing the winter to make the ponies angry. The ponies were already dysfunctional before the winter came, possibly drawing the Windigos into the land. How are these creatures created, though? Could they have once been ponies themselves? Perhaps they had so much anger and hatred inside of them, they were cursed into these monsters. Or they could have just been inherently evil to begin with, and enjoyed seeing disharmony to the point where it gave them power and eventually sustenance. The Windigos here are not doing anything harmful on purpose. They're only feeding, much like how some fans say the changelings are misunderstood because they were only trying to survive. That's basically it. That's all the info I got. I really liked doing this episode. I loved that it was a fan request, and I actually learned a lot. Tell me in the comments what you think, what your theories about the Windigos are, and what monster you think I should cover next time. Bye bye!